Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the defending Super Bowl champions, fire them cannons. By golly, put more powder in those things.
I knew I should have deleted that. I should have seen that coming.
We're going for two. There's big free agent decisions to be made for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Depending on the figures, they've got between $13 and $30 million in salary cap space. They may try to create more. I think the restructuring thing is the best path right now, because I think the last I read, we had like 8 guys that could be restructured to create up to like $15 million in space.
It's 3.
It's 3? Really?
It's Mike Evans, Ali Marpet, and Cameron Brake. That's about all you got.
And Tom.
Tom's non-restructurable. There's only 1 year left on the deal. You can extend him.
Yeah, that's not
restructuring.
That's been
if I'm going to teach you one thing going into this offseason, that's not restructuring. There is a difference. Now, you can extend a guy, but you're kicking the can down the road. That's what happened to the New Orleans Saints. The reason they're $100 million over the cap is because that's what they did. I don't think the Bucs are going to be doing that. Doesn't make any sense, because you can destroy this team for 5 years to make a run at one more title. And you're not able to bring all these guys back.
That's worth it.
Not to the level of the Saints. The Saints are going to suck for 10 years. So the Saints right now are working as a cautionary tale to every team in the NFL.
Right.
You cannot, the Eagles are the same way, by the way.
Right.
You can't do this. So.
Big free agent decisions. Shaq Barrett, he's got to come back. I think that's the one thing the Super Bowl proved to us, is that pass rush has to be kept intact. And that should be the number one priority. I love Chris Godwin, obviously, but I think he's got to go. I think he's going to be the odd man out on all of this. Because I'd also like to see them secure Lavonte David and finish his career out in Tampa.
No, that's not going to happen. You don't have money. And straight up. You're going to franchise Shaq Barrett. If I had to guess, I would say you're going to franchise Shaq Barrett, and then you're going to see a whole mess of turnover on this roster. I think Gronk would come back cheap. I don't think Antonio Bryant's going to be as cheap as everybody thinks he will.
Antonio Brown.
What did I say?
Bryant.
I do that all the fucking time. Dude hadn't played in the league in 15 years. I still say his name all the time.
Right. Antonio Brown.
I don't think Antonio Brown's going to be as cheap as people think he will be.
Yeah.
He stayed mostly out of trouble, and he's still really damn good.
Leonard Fournette's probably gone, and I'm fine with it.
I don't know what the market's going to be on Fournette. He's a hard one to figure out for me.
Is he a $4 million running back?
It's probably more than that.
$5 million?
Sure.
Okay. I'm just curious.
I mean, the franchise tag on running backs is $8.5 million, so it's you're not going to be tremendously off.
Right.
I just don't know who's going to be interested in Fournette because he's so one-dimensional. And that was shown this previous year, is that he is one-dimensional as hell.
Seattle Seahawks.
I
mean, it's always kind of screamed one-dimensional running back to me. So
I think they bring back Chris Carson, but that's just me.
Well, I'm sure that they could probably get him cheaper.
No, they're about the same.
Than Fournette?
About the same boat.
Oh, okay.
They're about the same boat.
And Ndamukong Suh's probably gone as well.
I would say so. I think that's one of those luxuries that you're not going to be able to afford.
Unless these guys are just willing to play for peanuts.
Which
and I very highly doubt that that's actually going to happen.
They're not.
Gronk may.
Yeah,
because I think the only way Gronk is playing is if he's with Tom. Otherwise, he's going on to, rule the 24/7 championship circuit in WWE or something.
He already did that. We already been.
We're moving on to the next thing.
Yeah, we've already been down there.
He's going to be an MMA fighter next. Is he?
Maybe. No, at this point, nothing would shock me. It wouldn't shock me if he was sponsored by Natural Light and he just crushed beers on boats for the next 5 years.
So yeah, there are big questions for the team in free agency. They have all of their draft picks except for the 6th round pick, and they've got an extra one in the 7th that they got from Pittsburgh, and they sent the 6th round. Pittsburgh sent the 7th round pick. So I guess At the end of the first round, you're looking for the best defensive player you can, in my opinion.
I believe so. Yeah,
you're going to be looking for Azeez Ojulari or
Azeez Ojulari ain't going to be there.
He ain't going to be there at 32?
No, he ain't going to be there. So you can hang that shit up.
I was hoping everybody's going to sleep on him like you were.
It's not, but you also don't need an edge guy. You're going to bring back Shaq Barrett, and Jason Pierre-Paul's already under contract. That's not where I see you going.
Right.
If I had to make a wager on where they go, you're going to have a second interior guy on defense.
Absolutely.
I mean, if Christian Barmore somehow fell that far.
A lot of mocks have him.
And they're wrong.
Tampa.
They're wrong. He's not going to fall that far. They're going to see the tapes. They're going to see the same thing I saw.
Mm-hmm.
Very rarely do you see guys win defensive MOP of the national title game. And, we slept on him. It's kind of hard to sleep on Alabama guys. Just throwing that out there.
Right.
I'll tell you a guy, and I don't say this guy's name really well because I haven't gotten my pronunciation guide yet. You'll know when that comes to all the people that do what I do because all of a sudden I'll be able to pronounce everybody's name. Levi Onzowerki. Mm-hmm. I like him a lot. And he fits your scheme. He's a little undersized, but next to Vita Vea, he's mobile enough that I like the fit.
Okay.
It's a guy I could see that happening.
I think you're right about the interior. They also need to, I think they got to do something about the secondary.
I agree. But they're in that same problem that Jacksonville had, though.
What's that?
You get to the end of the first round, and there's just a shitload of guys that, there's a lot of Sean Wade down there.
Right.
Who is going to fall much further than people think he is.
Yeah. But that's the thing. You got to, you got to take something on the defensive side, in my opinion.
Well, Tyson,
because I think everything else is kind of shorn up except for wide receiver.
Shorn.
Yeah.
Shorn. There's basically two guys that could go at the back end of the first round. It's Tyson Campbell from Georgia and Aaron Robinson out of Central Florida. I like the Aaron Robinson thing I could see. I don't buy Tyson Campbell. Tyson Campbell's too physical of a corner to play in Tampa Bay. I don't think he fits the bowl system. Aaron Robinson could.
Yeah. If they lose Chris Godwin, could they go with a wide receiver at the end of the first?
So. Receiver falls off a fucking cliff once you get past. His name has gone out of my head. Second receiver from LSU.
Terrace Marshall.
Terrace Marshall. Yeah. It doesn't, and it's not necessarily it falls off a cliff. It's just a bunch of guys that you could get at the back end of the second. Sage Surratt, Daz Newsome,
De'Ami Brown.
De'Ami Brown's a little lower. But you've got, I think they will take a receiver. I just don't think it will be early.
Okay. I could, again, I think this class is pretty loaded. There's a lot of talent in this wide receiver class.
It's not nearly as good as last year. People are going to try to compare the two, and it's not accurate. I think there's a lot of very quality third receivers.
Where do you have Amon-Ra St. Brown? Is he in that top tier, or is he under?
That's Amon-Ra St. Brown's a guy that
Terrace Marshall.
I'm not allowed. I have in my head a Terrace Marshall.
Okay.
That's not really a guy I'm allowed to talk about. I'm so drunk on him that until the rest of the world catches up, I don't think I should speak on him.
Uh-huh.
He's my dirty little secret. I have Amon-Ra St. Brown in the top 20. So
okay.
I think he's an impact guy.
Right. I think the MO for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is just going to be try to keep what you can keep from the Super Bowl team, but you have to focus on what won you the Super Bowl, and it wasn't Chris Godwin. It wasn't, obviously Tom Brady and the wide receivers helped, but this was all about the defense. You were able to pull off the shocker of the century against the Kansas City Chiefs because you did something to them that nobody has done, and that's make Patrick Mahomes look like he's mortal. And you got to focus on the defense first and foremost.
Tampa Bay's main goal is going to be to keep this team together and fill holes where they can.
Yep.
This is a team that this happens every year, and it's so undersold. They're a team that I could very easily see trading back from 32. 32 is one of the most valuable picks in the draft. Mm-hmm. because you get a 5th-year option on a guy that you pay like a second-rounder. So they have so many holes, and there's not necessarily that many guys that I look at and go, you could be a day one impact for Tampa Bay. That I could see them, moving back, acquiring extra pieces for bottom of the roster depth, which I think you're going to see a lot of that in Tampa. You're not going to see that many of these guys take big pay cuts to play with Tom. This is not like New England. They hadn't been with him for 10 years where they're willing to take that hometown discount. No, we got our ring, and now we want to get paid. Lavonte David, looking directly